if they don't make it to the finals, then this might be one of the biggest L's in NBA history.
Hot topics.
Embiid never had the mentality to win a championship. I don't think he ever will win a championship.
The best analysis.
But Jokic, he might be the best player in the league this season. He really might be the MVP.
This is the Full Court Report.
And we're back.
Oh, yeah.
Episode number 26 of the 2024-2025 NBA season. How's everybody doing?
Feeling pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty tired. Pretty beat up, but pretty good.
Yeah, playing ball with you clowns.
Yeah. I had to get back out on the court. It's been a minute, so had to get some runs in. So this is like a post-game episode.
Yeah, for real.
But we got a lot to talk about, so we shouldn't waste too much time because we got plenty of news. Obviously, the NBA trade deadline was Thursday, and quite a bit of players are on the move. So we're here to talk about most of those moves for the most part, a lot of the bigger ones. But right after we ended the last episode, it's probably like 20 minutes after we stopped recording, De'Aaron Fox was sent to the San Antonio Spurs, a move that I think was rumored for a little bit. So it's not something that kind of came out of nowhere like the Luka trade, but still obviously a huge deal. So the full deal, we got De'Aaron Fox going to San Antonio. Zach LaVine is going to Sacramento. Zach LaVine coming from Chicago. Also, 6 picks, 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks are also going to the Kings. And the Bulls, they got Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Kevin Huerter. And a 2025 pick that is their own pick that San Antonio had. So they get their own first-round pick back, which I'm sure they're happy about. But yeah, obviously the headliner being De'Aaron Fox, pairing now with Victor Wembanyama. He's got his running mate for the foreseeable future, which is, I'm sure, very exciting for plenty of people down in San Antonio. But what do you guys make of this deal from the Spurs' perspective? And do you guys think that that San Antonio can make a playoff push this season?
I think it helps them to be able to push for the playoffs. Obviously, with the current roster, it doesn't really make them contenders, really even close. At least at this point of Wemby's career, he's not really that guy who can just take him to the finals like that. I don't know what seed they are currently. Let me look that up. They are the 12th seed. They are only 2 games behind Sacramento, who is the 10th seed. So there's still 35 games left. I think plenty of time to make a push for the playoffs. Even though I just said they don't really got the roster to make a, finals push, they still have some pretty good, solid guys, solid starters. They got Keldon Johnson, they got Devin Vassell, and my guy Stephon Castle. A blossoming rookie, doing his thing. So get another solid, almost all-star level caliber player, and you got yourself another dynasty down there in San Antonio.
Yeah, I agree with that. I hate to say it, but I love this trade for the Spurs. I think it's perfect. Especially like Justin said, they didn't have to really get rid of their good young players. They still have Stephon Castle. I don't know. I feel like this is a big move to get another start with Wemby. I feel like this definitely helps their odds getting into the playoffs. I said at the beginning of the year I thought they were going to be a playing team, and I think this definitely solidifies that. So Just another side note too. I feel like this is the first time maybe in his career that Chris Paul probably isn't the best point guard on his team. So I think that's a little bit interesting.
Guy was on the Warriors with Steph Curry.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah, that's a good point though, Toby. That's actually really interesting to think
I
about.
feel like this is like this is like I don't know, his career is ending. I feel like that's what it comes down to. But yeah, I love this trade.
No, yeah, I mean I agree. I think this is a great move for San Antonio. Like I said, I think this was something that was kind of in the works for a little bit. I think De'Aaron Fox was kind of asking out of Sacramento, and I'm pretty sure he said his preferred destination was San Antonio. So it's not really a shock that it happened, but it's interesting that San Antonio didn't wait for him to become like a free agent. They just decided to like let's get him now and get him in town and let's start building that chemistry as soon as possible. But yeah, even though he didn't really win a ton in Sacramento, I feel like he's clearly a win now player. Fox is. And, like you said, Toby, with Chris Paul, like even though they have a point guard there and Steph Castle can kind of play point guard, I feel like positionally they kind of needed another ball handler on this team, someone who can really, you know, make the defense collapse on him, like, with great, attacking the rim, stuff like that. So I feel like he's going to be a really good fit for this team. The chemistry he and Wemby are going to build could be special. I don't think that De'Aaron Fox is like the perfect passing point guard, I guess, that Wemby might need. I feel like he's more of a score first player. But again, it's De'Aaron Fox. I feel like at the end of the day, you're going to have to pick your poison defending those two. So it's going to be really interesting to see what those two can like achieve. And honestly, I think you said, Justin, like it's just crazy how little they gave up for De'Aaron Fox. Like I mentioned, Trey Jones, he only played 16 minutes a game for San Antonio this season over 28 games, which was the most minutes per game of anyone that the Spurs got rid of in this trade. And they kept their top 8 guys in their rotation in terms of like minutes per game. So again, like they really did not have to give up much at all for De'Aaron Fox, which was really surprising. So again, I think this was like a home run for San Antonio. But as for making the playoffs, I mean it's crazy, and we'll talk about obviously some other trades that impact the standings in the West. But ahead of them right now, you got Golden State, Sacramento, Phoenix, and the Mavericks. All teams who, made some moves at the deadline. I guess not Phoenix, but, teams that obviously have playoff hopes and aspirations. And right behind them is Portland, who has kind of oddly started winning. They've won 9 of their last 10 games. So they're right on San Antonio's heels right now. So I don't know. I feel like if they don't make the playoffs, I don't know if it's really the end of the world. I feel like this might be more of a long-term move for San Antonio. It's nice to get him in the organization now so that they can start building that chemistry. But I feel like next season they're going to hit the ground running and, again, they could start competing for titles right away with as good as Wemby has been to start his career. So, but again, a great trade for the Spurs in my opinion, but like I said, not the only big-time player that got moved in this deal. Zach LaVine going to Sacramento. He's going to be pairing with DeMar DeRozan, who was his teammate in Chicago for quite some time. And Zach LaVine also, he grew up in Seattle, and he played college basketball at UCLA. So it's kind of like a homecoming for him, if you consider like the Pacific Northwest, I guess. So I guess that's kind of cool that he kind of gets to go home a little bit. But what do you guys think of, LaVine going to the Kings?
Honestly, dude, Chicago really came in clutch. Like I kind of feel like even though they got rid of Zach LaVine, their season's kind of wrapped up already. They're not making the playoffs probably. I feel like this is definitely a rebuild trade for Chicago, but I feel like they kind of they made it go so smooth for Sacramento and San Antonio. Like San Antonio didn't give up much to get Fox, and Sacramento got a lot in return. They got, pretty, pretty even scoring output with Zach LaVine. Like I was comparing their numbers. Uh, De'Aaron Fox has like he's like a point and a half, like a rebound and like an assist and a half above all of Zach LaVine's numbers. Like it's so little of a difference. Like they got so yeah, the Kings got Zach LaVine and basically three first rounders. Like their roster didn't really change much in my opinion. They don't really have a point guard. They have a lot of guards, but they're all generally, the shooting guard. So I feel like they're kind of missing in that department. But other than that, dude, like this might have been my favorite trade of the whole deadline. Like I feel like it worked out for both teams. Chicago kind of it's the Bulls, whatever. But I really like this trade a lot. I think it was perfect for both sides, honestly. Like De'Aaron Fox clearly didn't want to be there, and they got a good player in return. So I think it's a win-win.
Yeah, I think it was a necessary move for the Kings. Obviously, Fox wanted out, so they had to do something. So, um, like Justin said, I mean, scoring wise, like if you're looking at the numbers, I mean, the output is pretty similar with Zach LaVine. He might average a little bit less, but what I think, and Justin kind of alluded to it too, is that I feel like the Kings are, uh, they're kind of short on guards, specifically point guards. Like, I don't really know who's gonna. Maybe Keon Ellis will start at point guard, moving forward. So I think it that this trade has definitely affected the offense a lot. Um, I think it does make them worse this year going forward, but it feels like, I mean, they got a decent amount in return. They got, some uh, draft picks and stuff like that. So I think they're set up a little bit for the future. But it feels like it's not a complete rebuild right now for the Kings. Like they're still trying to compete, and I think they can maybe make a playing spot with LaVine on the team. So I think it's okay for the Kings. I like to trade a little bit more for the Spurs, but we'll see. Maybe these draft picks turn into greatness.
I mean, dude, they might have to get Sabonis on his Nikola Jokic, a big man, big point center action.
Yeah, he's gonna have to pop off.
Yeah, I think I watched. I forget who they were playing, but Zach LaVine already made his debut with the team. I think it was against Orlando, and I don't know. Like you guys said, they just don't really have a point guard, so it's just a rotation of like who's kind of orchestrating the offense, who's bringing the ball up. Like at times it's LaVine, at times it's DeRozan. Sabonis will bring the ball up occasionally, so it's like I think it's just going to be kind of point guard by committee type thing for this team for probably the remainder of the season. I don't know how effective that's going to be moving forward, but it's going to be interesting to see. I think they're going to be able to continue to play at that like fast pace offense that they like to play, really push the ball, a lot of cutting stuff like that. But I do feel like they could have like a lot of ball stoppers on this team because you also have Malik Monk, another kind of shot creator type player. So it's going to be an interesting fit to say the least. But like you guys said, they got a lot of draft picks, so this could definitely we'll see down the line, what those become. And I don't know. I mean, at least like their core players with like LaVine, Sabonis, DeRozan, Malik Monk, like I mentioned, they're all under contract for next season, and most of them are under contract for the season after that. So at least right now, like they don't. I would imagine they don't really have any plans to like blow it up. But this feels like a team that could kind of start selling some of their players if they don't win, soon, because they already fired their coach and Mike Brown. So I don't know. And a lot of these players, they're kind of approaching 30. DeMar DeRozan's already 35. So I don't know. This team doesn't feel like it has a ton of, a very long lifespan, I guess. But certainly going to be a fun team to watch with LaVine in town. But I don't know. You guys tell me. I don't know if that's the most, or I guess the biggest player that went to California during this deadline, because Jimmy Butler is headed to Golden State. Disgruntled superstar. He finally, yeah, exactly. He finally got his wish. He's out of Miami, and the help that I guess everyone thought Steph Curry needed, he finally got, or so we think. But the trade, Jimmy Butler, like I said, going to the Warriors. They are sending Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and a 2025 first-round pick to Miami. PJ Tucker also went to Miami in this deal, but I think he has since been traded to Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. Dennis Schroeder, who was part of the Warriors, he went to Utah initially, and I think now he's in Detroit. As is Lindy Waters III and Josh Richardson, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of moving pieces right now in this deal. But like obviously the big, I guess focal point of this trade is Jimmy Butler. So what do you guys think? Do you think this is going to work for Golden State? Obviously, he's had a lot of, media coverage this season with everything that's going on down in Miami. But needless to say, I think he's still a great player. So what do you guys think? Do you think he's going to work?
Well, I was looking, so he signed a 2-year extension. After the season, it'll start. The contract goes through the 2026-27 season. And that just so happens to be the same year that Steph Curry's contract runs out. So, in my opinion, the Warriors have until then. They got 2 years to win a championship, or at least how I'm looking at it. The Warriors did exactly what Steph told them not to do, and they traded away their future basically for a desperate attempt at winning a ring. Steph Curry was in a post-game press conference, whatever it was, and obviously the reports were out that the Warriors were trying to make a move for somebody. They didn't care who it was. They were calling everybody for an all-star. And Steph Curry was like, don't make a mistake just to, try and get a ring just cuz like the whole, the organization needs to still keep going after I retire. Like, so I think the Warriors have until those contracts are up to win a ring. And if they don't, once Steph Curry retires, the Warriors are going to be not looking good.
Yeah, I agree with that. Uh, I'm not a fan of this deal, especially the fact that they signed him to that extension. I feel like, in my opinion, I think the Warriors are kind of in a difficult situation in this trade deadline. They got an agent Curry, and they don't really have the option to rebuild. You can't like trade Steph Curry and Draymond, and you just can't do that. They won 4 rings. I would have preferred a complete rebuild. Keep Curry if you can. Get rid of everybody else. Curry's not going to win any more rings. It is what it is. He's not going anywhere. He's already done what he's done. So, like Justin said, I think this feels like a desperate effort to win a ring, which they're not going to. Yeah, I don't think it makes a lot of sense for the Golden State Warriors, and I don't think it really moves the needle too much either.
And just real quick before you go, Jorie, that guy Jimmy Butler, did he not say like 2 days before he got traded that he would not sign an extension with the Warriors? Like, I don't know. He could change his mind. Like, it's as simple as that. The guy was just like, hey, you know what? Maybe I will. That's fine. But like, I don't know. The guy told everybody that he wasn't going to, and then he did. So I don't know. I feel like time was running out at the deadline, and Jimmy Butler was like, "Bro, I'm not playing for Miami unless I'm traded. I'm not playing this season." So I feel like Miami was like, yeah, we got to get him out of here, and the Warriors was the only team really with an offer. So he was like, I guess I'll sign with the Warriors. That's how I'm kind of looking at it.
I mean, it was a lot of money. I think it was over 100 million.
He was 2 years, 120, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's like, how can you turn that down?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I feel like we've seen recently, like players who say like they kind of they put that out to the media like, oh, I don't want to, I'm not going to re-sign if you guys trade for me. But like you said, things can change in an instant. Like I think that happened with Donovan Mitchell when he was trying to get out of Utah. He said, I'm pretty sure he wanted to go to New York, if I'm not wrong. And then he gets traded to Cleveland. And, all of a sudden it's like, okay, wait, actually, this team might be worth playing for a couple more years because they got a great young core. But, yeah, it's, like I said, it's, despite being somewhat of I guess, a head case, I don't know if that's the right word, but he's and still also being 35 years old. I feel like Jimmy is still a really impactful player. We just haven't seen it because he just hasn't been playing for Miami this year. But they get another kind of go-to shot creator. I feel like he instantly becomes probably like their best, I guess on ball guy outside of Curry. He can get to the rim probably better than almost anyone on the team, maybe. I think at this point, and he's also, a versatile defender who I think is going to fit in well with this team, playing alongside Draymond. That should be really fun to watch. But I mean, I think in terms of like giving up a lot of their future, I feel like they didn't really give up too much. They like I said, they gave up a 2025 first round pick, but outside of that, I mean, you could, I don't know if Wiggins is really part of their future. Kyle Anderson, same thing. Like, I don't know if they really gave up too much. That being said, I will say I am curious now what this means for Jonathan Kuminga because like you said, Justin, Jimmy Butler signed an extension that's going to be worth about $60 million a year. Curry's obviously on a huge contract, as is Draymond. So Jonathan Kuminga did not sign an extension this past offseason, so he'll be a restricted free agent this summer. And so the Warriors will have the opportunity to re-sign him, but that's at the price that other teams are willing to pay Jonathan Kuminga. So obviously he's part of their future, someone they've been developing for a handful of years. So, and I don't know, it's very interesting. That's going to be like one of the premier free agents, in my opinion, this summer because I feel like he has a lot of untapped potential. I just feel like he has not had the opportunity to really show it in Golden State, like consistently at least. And I feel like a young team that might need a wing or a power forward could take a swing on Kuminga and really kind of give him the keys to a team. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of just have to see it. I really can't even visualize what this team is going to look like with Jimmy Butler, But I feel like he's going to fit in. I feel like, in Miami, he obviously had those takeover moments, in the bubble or, during the 2023 playoffs as well when they got back to the finals as the 8th seed. But like, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be kind of more reined in this team, with Curry and Steve Kerr, kind of having the more, free flowing offense where they don't really ask any one person to do too much. But yeah, at the end of the day, I really just got to see it to see what, how this team fits together. But I think it's going to be interesting.
I have a feeling, Jimmy Butler has been known to, create some drama in the locker rooms. So I'm interested to see if this team doesn't perform that well, like next year or the year after. Because they got another pretty interesting player in Draymond Green. So,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's going to be some headbutting. But I mean, if it works out, then everything should be good. I just wanted to throw that out there too.
Yeah, no, that is a good point.
Yeah, I think Steph Curry said something interesting about the trade. I think after one of their games recently, just about, even if it doesn't work out, essentially, he said he just likes having expectations at the end of the day, and I think he felt like this team before the deadline without Jimmy Butler like didn't really have many expectations, right? Like with him kind of being the lone star on this team, but now you bring in Jimmy Butler, who, still I think at the end of the day is an all-star level player. Um, obviously he's going to make them a little bit better. So who knows what this team can achieve. But again, they're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to mesh. I don't know if they're going to be able to really make any noise in the playoffs this season, but next season, you get a full summer with everybody, kind of get him integrated into the offense and defense, and who knows what this team can achieve. I mean, I don't think anyone saw them winning a title in 2022, and the Warriors did it, so you can never count them out, man. You can never count them out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But on the other side of this trade, obviously, Miami moving on from Jimmy Butler. The Jimmy Butler era is over. But I feel like Miami is interesting moving forward because, they have been pretty solid this season. They're at the moment they're 25-25, so they're 500, seventh in the Eastern Conference. And I mean, again, that's really without having Jimmy Butler on the floor for the majority of the season. So now you bring in Andrew Wiggins, who, say what you will about him, but I feel like he's going to be a solid player. And like I said, Kyle Anderson. So you're basically just replacing zero with these two players, and I feel like they're going to be able to make an impact. So what do you guys think of Miami moving forward?
Yeah, Jory, I mean, you really just basically said what I have written down word for word. Um, yeah, I guess they're the seventh seed. When I was writing my notes, they were still the sixth seed. I don't know who passed them up, what happened, but they didn't have Jimmy since January 21st. Um, he also missed prior to that, like a 2 week span from January 2nd to the 17th. So he hasn't really played at all in, like the last month or two. Um, and like you said, they add Wiggins and Kyle Anderson for, nothing. They also got Davion Mitchell somehow. I was looking at the full finished trade details. The Heat got Kyle Anderson, Davion Mitchell from the Kings. I believe he was on the Kings. Maybe he was on the Jazz. I can't remember. And Andrew Wiggins. They also got Golden State's um, 2025 top 10 protected first, but it's only protected for this draft and next year's draft. Once it hits 2027, if somehow the pick isn't used, I don't really know how that works. If it's not used, it's just whatever Golden State's first round pick is. So they at least got a half decent, deal on that. And like you said, I am a fan of Wiggins. I've always liked Andrew Wiggins. Um, I think, he'll pick up the pace. And yeah, like you said, they're the seventh seed. Bam and Tyler Hero, they've been doing their thing. I don't think those two are winning you a championship unless they have another, Jimmy Butler or whoever it is, they got to get another, number one guy. But if they keep Wiggins or not, he could be a trade piece. I feel like they have a lot of trade pieces, so either next season's deadline or even this off season, I feel like the Heat should be very aggressive pursuing a star, and I feel like they could get right back to it. Like they didn't really lose much, and like I said, Bam and Hero, they're doing their thing so far. So
All right. I'm with you. I like this. I like this move a lot for the Heat. I think obviously gets rid of a big distraction in the locker room and Jimmy Butler, so players can focus on basketball. I feel like Tyler Hero, he can kind of do what he wants with the team now. Even though, like you guys were saying, Jimmy Butler hadn't been playing that much this year. I think this just kind of, opens the door for Tyler Hero to just, it's his team. So I think everybody, they're building around him. Um, I feel like Andrew Wiggins is a great pickup as a replacement for Jimmy. He might not be, have like the ball handling and facilitating as Jimmy, but I feel like he does a lot of similar stuff as far, defensively and stuff like that. Um, they don't have to worry about that big Jimmy contract anymore, so that's another plus for them. And Davion Mitchell, I think he's a really, really solid defender. So he's going to add some toughness to the team. I think he's going to fit in with that culture perfectly. And, a couple draft picks. Like Justin said, I think if they get another star, maybe somebody like Zach LaVine, if the Kings are, trying to get rid of him next year or something like that. If they have the trade capital, I think they're going to make a move. And I think they're going to be right back to contenders, especially in a weak East.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I think I like this move for Miami. You're like Justin said, you're kind of just replacing nothing with Wiggins, so that's obviously a positive, I think. But this team is interesting. I mean, Tyler Hero, he's playing fantastic this year. He was named an All-Star. Bam, he's consistently been one of the better big men in the league. Kel'el Ware, I think that's how it's pronounced, the rookie. He's been really solid. He's been coming, starting for the Heat a lot more recently, moving Bam kind of the power forward. So I think he's going to be a really interesting player for Miami moving forward. But yeah, I feel like they actually now have the pieces to kind of make a big trade if they want, because they got a lot of young players, like Jaime Jaquez, who was a really nice rookie last year. Nikola Jovic, not Jokic, but Jovic, like another young guy that they have that could be a trade piece potentially. So I don't know. I feel like Miami could make a big splash for a player, kind of get right back to contention if they want. But I kind of want to see how this team plays out this year. I don't think they can't do it now with the trade deadline passed, but maybe in the off season or at next year's deadline, if they feel a need to do that, who knows what players could become available. But yeah, I think Eric Spoelstra now just has a bunch of options really to I don't know. I mean, I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. So I think just with the amount of players that he has on this roster, I feel like this team is going to be a sneaky good playoff team moving forward, and not the type of team you want to see in the first round. Not to say that they're going to upset any of the top dogs, but we'll see. We'll see. And speaking of which, kind of wanted to kind of make this a look at the top teams in the Eastern Conference right now, because the Milwaukee Bucks also made a big trade, getting Kyle Kuzma. They got rid of longtime Milwaukee Buck Chris Middleton. Sad to see him go, I'm sure, for a lot of Bucks fans. But I think it was time, unfortunately. They also traded A.J. Johnson, a rookie, and a pick swap to the Washington Wizards, like I said, for Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and a second-round draft compensation. We don't have to necessarily talk too much about like what you guys think of the fit with Kyle Kuzma necessarily. I mean, you can if you would like, but it's more of a question of like, do you think this really moves the needle for Milwaukee? And how do you guys view the top of the Eastern Conference, with Cleveland, Boston, and New York? Do you really think that Milwaukee has kind of moved into that tier of top teams that can really compete for the championship?
Well, in a separate trade with the Clippers, I'm pretty sure they also acquired Kevin Porter Jr. from the Clippers, which I think he's still a good player. He's had some issues off the court, but I think he's a good player. Um, I hate this trade for the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm just a fan of the sport. I don't know nothing about all this Kuzma nonsense, but Chris Middleton, let me read you a little something here. Chris Middleton with the Milwaukee Bucks, three-time All-Star, first in three-pointers made, second in games played, second in minutes played, third in total points, and third in assists. in Milwaukee Bucks franchise history. Um, Apparently, the Bucks did extensive research on Kyle Kuzma and believe he's like the perfect player for their rotations and their style of play and what they want to do. So, Doc Rivers must see something I don't see, but I feel like you're trading Chris Middleton for a worse player, and you're trading a guy who won a championship with your team and is top five in five categories in franchise history. I just kind of don't understand it. I feel like there was no reason to get rid of him. I mean, if Kuzma comes out and starts balling, I guess the Doc Rivers and everybody knew what they were talking about, but I don't like this trade. I think it's kind of disrespectful to Chris Middleton.
Justin, I remember you being a Chris Middleton hater.
Oh, big time. Oh, big time. I definitely was. I definitely was. I thought he was overrated, but like it doesn't matter at this point, bro. He's a Milwaukee Bucks legend. Like
He is a legend. He is a legend. I'll give you that. I think I disagree with you though. I do like this trade for the Bucks. I think it's a logical trade when you consider, first of all, I mean, we talk about it all the time. There's no more loyalty in the NBA. So is it a shock that they get rid of Chris Middleton? Not really. He helped them win a championship, but I feel like honestly, I feel like Kuzma's not that much worse than Middleton, especially now. You know, talking availability and Middleton getting older, so he might not be as productive in the upcoming years. Chris Middleton, I think, has a bigger contract than Kuzma, so it saves them a little bit of money. Do I think this moves the needle as far as putting them in the tier with the other, big teams in the East like the Celtics? No, I don't think. I don't think they're there this year, but I like the trade. I think it makes sense. Another piece that the Bucks got is Jericho Sims. I know that Jorie mentioned that he would like to see a
yes,
little bit
sir.
more mobility in the big man position. So I feel like he's going to add some athleticism next to Giannis and probably, off the bench. But I think that's a underrated trade. As much as I've hated on Jericho Sims in the past, mostly just due to the fact he was on the Knicks. But I don't know. I think this trade makes the Bucks a little bit better, but I don't think it puts them in that upper echelon of the East.
Yeah, I agree with you on that part, Toby. I mean, I don't know what seed they are right now, but like I don't think they're cracking that top three. It's just my Knicks are too good, the Celtics are too good, and the Cavs are too good. So I mean, I agree with Toby. I don't think it moves the needle, and I don't know. I mean, I kind of want it to work out for the Bucks. Like I really like Giannis. I really want Dame to win a ring before he retires. So I don't know. I'm rooting for the Bucks. Like I really am. Like I guess I would say they're my second favorite team out of the East. But I don't know if they got what it takes. I don't know if they can do it in the Dame and Giannis era. If we're being honest.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like the Middleton trade, it really has to do a lot with his availability the last couple of seasons. He's only played 45% of the games over the last 3 seasons. He's played 111 of the 246 total games. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, like you said, Justin, it's weird. It's crazy to think that like Chris Middleton is like an all-time Buck, but I mean, he has been there. I think he's played all but 1 season in Milwaukee, so I guess it's not too shocking when you spend like that many years there. But yeah, it's definitely sad to see him go, for sure. But like you guys said, Kuzma, I mean, in 2020 when the Lakers won that title in the bubble, I feel like Kuzma was kind of that third option. Obviously playing alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis were, huge reasons why they won. But I feel like he provides a lot of just, I don't know what the word is, maybe spunk, like just kind of doing a bunch of different little things. I feel like he can just provide like a spark. I feel like, playing in Washington probably didn't help him too much, But now that he's playing with, a more motivated and veteran team, I feel like he'll kind of buy in a little bit more. And I'm curious to know. I mean, like you said, they did a lot of research on him. I'm curious to know like what kind of research that was, or what Doc sees in Kuzma and how he's going to use him. So who knows? Who knows what this could mean for Milwaukee? But it's funny you mentioned the Jericho Sims thing, Toby. I kind of forgot that I even said that they needed a more athletic center. I totally forgot that. But
It's true. It was a good
it's
point, though.
yeah, no, because I remember like I saw that trade and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I guess Jericho Sims, but yeah, that definitely actually will help them, I think, a little bit in their front court. With Brook Lopez, we'll see. I think he'll still be the starter, obviously, but I think Sims will probably get some good minutes there as kind of in the backup center. But yeah, in terms of competing with the top teams in the East, we'll probably talk about this in a second. But Cleveland, I feel like they might honestly be the winners of this trade deadline based on a move that they made. But Boston, they didn't really do anything at the deadline, but and they kind of have not been as dominant as they were last year. But I still kind of believe in Boston as probably the team to beat in the East at this point. As good as Cleveland has been, we'll see. I feel like I
Forgetting
said,
somebody there, Jorie.
yeah. Obviously New York as well. New York has been fantastic all year. It's gonna be really tough. It's gonna be crazy to think that one of those teams is gonna lose before the conference finals. But yeah, it's in terms of the Bucks, I don't know how much this move really kind of moves the needle for Milwaukee. I think Kuzma will, like I said, be a little bit more motivated to play now that he's with the Bucks. But again, I don't know how much this really is going to change their playoff hopes. But like I said, Cleveland, they made a big splash at the trade deadline, as I guess you could call it a big splash. But if there are any other trades that you guys want to mention at this point, like we said, we talked about De'Aaron Fox, Zach LaVine, Jimmy Butler. If there's any other kind of smaller moves that you really think is going to help a team moving forward for the rest of the season or just in general, we can mention it now. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'll make this quick. I have a couple written down. I'll just go over it real quick. Brandon Ingram to the Raptors. I don't know. I feel like the Pelicans had to move him, but I feel like it's a kind of a dumb trade. Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, and Scotty Barnes is kind of a nice trio, but I don't know. I feel like he should have went to an actual, solid team, Brandon Ingram. Um, like you said, Jory, DeAndre Hunter to the Cavs. I really like that move. The Cavs got rid of Levert, Karis Levert, George Yang, and they got a 2026 and 2028 first round pick swap. I can't remember from who, and they got 3 second-round picks. So some nice picks, and I feel like the Cavs, they have like an insane just their defense is crazy. Like they got DeAndre Hunter, who's a very good wing perimeter defender, and then obviously Twin Towers down low. Um, Mark Williams to the Lakers. Got rid of my boy Dalton Connect, bro. I can't believe it, but I kind of like him going to the Hornets. Same with Cam Reddish. Hornets also got 2030 first round swap and a 2031 first round pick. So Hornets have a future. They're not very good right now, but they got a nice future. Their whole team really young. I like the Hornets kind of, even though they stink. But and then last but not least, the Grizzlies got moved on from Marcus Smart. I didn't look at the trade when it came out. I just looked at it right before this episode. I cannot believe the Grizzlies got Marvin Bagley, dude. That's crazy.
You really think that does anything? I don't know.
Dude, I don't know. I still think Marvin Bagley's a good player, bro. He's, he never really got what people thought he was going to be coming out of college, but I still think he's a good player.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what the Grizzlies can do with him. But
If this was 2018, bro, that would have been the craziest trade of all time.
Yeah. Toby, you got anything?
Yeah. Well, Justin kind of said a couple of them that I had. I like DeAndre Hunter to the Cavs. Uh, I think, you know, there's a good chance he'll probably be coming off the bench, but one of the best bench scorers in the league, in my opinion. Um, Obviously they got rid of my man Karis LeVert, so I'm a little bit sad about that. But if they win a ring, I think he'll still get a ring as well. So that's good. I like that trade. I like from the Hawks position, some of the players that they got. They got Terrence Mann from the Clippers. They traded Bogdanovich. They got Bones Highland from the Clippers, another young player. And then obviously Niang and Karis LeVert. So I feel like the Hawks are still in a position where they can remain competitive. I think they're right on the cusp of they're basically a playing team right now, but I feel like this will sustain them. And, you know, I think that was kind of their goal, especially with Trae Young. And then like Justin said, I like Dalton Connect to the Hornets, another young player for them. I think him and LaMelo are going to be a pretty good duo. And it's not a trade, but I'm just happy that this guy right here is gone. It's going to be interesting to see if a team picks him up, how he's going to do. But I'm happy we don't have to deal with him. I don't have to watch him play anymore. I don't have to complain about him. So this, although the Nets didn't make any trades whatsoever, I think this was a good move.
Yeah, it's that's funny. I think Ben Simmons, I think they said he was looking at joining either the Clippers or the Cavs as two of his options, maybe the Rockets as well. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where he lands.
If he goes to the Cavs and wins a ring, I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to be so mad.
I don't know where he's going to end up, but I feel like he could be an interesting player. I don't know if he's going to really make a huge difference with any of those teams, but I feel like he could, definitely be a valuable contributor to any of those teams.
Bro, he would be the perfect player for the Knicks, dude. He would be perfect.
No, he wouldn't.
Here we go.
No, he wouldn't. That guy cannot
Dude.
handle the New York pressure. You do not want to play.
That guy's going to be like the seventh guy off the bench, the seventh or eighth guy off the bench. Like all he's got to do is just be a big dude out there.
Yeah. I mean, easier said than done.
Yeah, I don't know. But in terms of the trades, you mentioned it, Toby, the Bogdanovich move to Los Angeles, I feel like was a really underrated one because the Clippers, like, I don't know, I feel like they're going to be a really interesting team. And with getting Kawhi back, I feel like they've been pretty solid. And obviously Norman Powell has had a great season. James Harden was named an All-Star, but their bench, like, they have solid rotation. They have a solid rotation. They play like Chris Dunn. I think Amir Coffey is a good player for them, but I feel like now they have like a legitimate 6-man coming off the bench and another veteran. So I feel like this team, they like kind of like Miami. They just got a lot of guys on this team that know what they're doing, And Tyronn Lue is a great coach. So Clippers are not the type of team I feel like others want to see in the playoffs, if everyone can stay healthy, of course. And then, like you said, the DeAndre Hunter to Cleveland, to me, I don't know. I mean, in terms of, like, this season, I think down the line, a trade, obviously, like Luka to the Lakers is obviously going to be very impactful, De'Aaron Fox. But, like, this season, I feel like it might be the best move of the whole deadline, just because Cleveland obviously has been so good all year, and I felt like they didn't even really need to make a move. Like the foursome of like Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen, like, is so good that you can really plug in any guy at that, kind of 3 spot. And I feel like they just continue to roll. Like throughout the season, it was Max Strus or Isaac Okoro or Dean Wade, I think, at times. But now I feel like you have like a legitimate full-time starter who, a versatile defender, solid shooter. And I think really what it does is helps them match up with, Boston mainly, because now you kind of have a guy who can go out there and defend Jason Tatum, defend Jaylen Brown at times. So I feel like that move really is going to help Cleveland. Also, I think I saw that they're now bringing DeAndre Hunter back, and he's pairing him with Ty Jerome, who was their college teammates at Virginia, and they won a championship in, I think it was 2019. So small little tidbit there, which is pretty cool. College teammates reuniting. But yeah, I mean, I think those two really are my kind of big moves of like, of the deadline, I think, that are really going to help these playoff teams.
Yeah, I mean, like you could see my name. In my opinion, at least, De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs is super cool. Luka getting traded, that doesn't even count. That's its own thing. That doesn't even count. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we've had crazier deadlines, but I don't know. Some of the moves just kind of seemed redundant to me. Like some of the moves were just kind of like, why?
I don't think I agree with you at all. I think this might have been the craziest deadline, because I feel like you have to factor in the Luka trade. That alone, it makes this one of the craziest deadlines ever. Like,
okay, maybe, but
that alone was insane.
But that's one of those trades though. Like, still, I don't understand why. I don't know why from either side of the trade. Just why?
It makes great sense for the Lakers, especially since they got Mark Williams.
I mean, yeah, like Mark Williams definitely helps. Like, people are sleeping on Mark Williams. You guys are sleeping on Mark Williams. You don't know nothing about Mark Williams.
Well, the thing with, I think a lot of people are concerned about his injury history and just the fact that he really has not played many games in his career. But obviously, like on paper, perfect type of player that you want. Like, I think he's like 7'1", 7'2", solid rim protector, great lob finisher, lob threat, rebounder. So like, he's going to do everything that they need him to do. And I can't think of two better players that he could play with than LeBron and Luka. Like, so.
Yeah,
but he just has to stay out. He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah, but with this guy Luka, like, I don't know. I kind of feel like it didn't have to be said, but like everybody's saying it. Like I know, I think Reggie Miller said it. Like, you're not a 5-time All NBA first team player at 25 if you're out of shape. Like, I feel like the Mavericks. I feel like that guy Nico Harrison was kind of tripping over Luka being a little stocky. The guy's not averaging a 30-point triple double for his career, basically, if he's out of shape.
Yeah, I think also, and it's funny, we circle back to the Luka trade, but I think also it has a lot to do with just the fact that he was about to sign a contract extension, the Supermax contract extension, and with the new CBA, how difficult it is really to construct rosters now when you have one guy making that much money. Like, as great as Luka is, it is a lot difficult. It's like a lot more difficult now to build teams when you have, players getting paid that much money. Because it really limits what you can do, the types of trades that you can move or the players that you can sign. So that probably was a big factor as well. But like you guys said, I mean, it's genuinely mind-boggling, the fact that they gave up on him at 25 years old. I don't know. We'll see. Only a title can really kind of, I guess, remedy this situation for Dallas. I feel like if they don't win a title, then we're going to look back at this as one of the kind of dumbest moves maybe ever.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's going to be a dumb move.
Nah, you were hating on the trade from the beginning, Toby.
From the Mavericks point of view. I love it for the Lakers.
I mean, if the Lakers are gonna win a ring, they better do it when LeBron's there, bro. I need LeBron to get number 5.
Oh gosh.
I mean, that guy just dropped like 40. They might be able to do it this year. 40 at 40.
Yes, sir.
Listen to me. I'm like the biggest LeBron hater, and I'm I'm out here glazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm really interested to watch his debut with the Lakers, and then Anthony Davis with the Mavericks. And then hopefully both of those teams make the playoffs, because I would love to see them in the playoff series and what they can do with their teams. But yeah, man, we're in the home stretch of the season. We got, All-Star coming up. So, and obviously, all these teams the playoffs are gonna be here soon, man. And it's and that's when it gets real. So we'll see.
I can't wait for some of these playoff matchups, especially with the trades. I want to see Mavericks versus Lakers. I want to see Clippers, Lakers. I want to see, I don't know, some other teams like that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you, man. It's gonna be crazy. But yeah. What a deadline. And yeah. Any final thoughts? Super Bowl predictions?
Chiefs. Chiefs, come on. Chiefs.
You don't know who I'm rocking with.
Yeah. I think
Let's give a score prediction.
Oh gosh, I can't do that. I'm gonna say it's gonna be high scoring. I'll say that. I think it's gonna be like both teams getting at probably close to 30. I feel like it's gonna be a pretty high scoring game.
So I bought 2 Super Bowl boxes. My numbers are 2 and 3 for the Chiefs and 9 and 3 for the Eagles. So my numbers are kind of all right. Those threes came in clutch. But I might make some money.
Okay. Yeah, I think just because I'm a sports fan, I want to see the Chiefs pull off the three-peat, because I feel like just as a fan of sports, I think that's incredibly impressive. I don't think that we'd understand how insane a three-peat would be in football, in like the most physical sport, right? But I feel like the Eagles are gonna win. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like Philly's gonna be. They got the revenge factor. Saquon Barkley has been, genuinely unstoppable.
Saquon Barkley saved your team, Toby. You're so lucky. You should be thanking the Giants. You should be.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. We love them. It's been great. Thank you so much.
It's crazy, but we'll see. We'll see. I say that now, and I don't know. Kansas City, they always find a way, so I could regret this pick.
I have full faith in my boy, Patty Mahomes. Guy's going to get it done.
Yeah.
I'm saying 38-30 Eagles.
Okay.
Saquon Barkley MVP.
All right. We'll see. I like that. All right. Well, good stuff. Yeah. Like I said, we're in the home stretch of the season, and until next time, we'll be seeing you.